Coach Tiffany here. So I'm so excited. We are on almost the last day of our challenge. Tomorrow is the end of our challenge. I want to thank you all so much for being here and participating. It has been, it's been fulfilling for me, heartwarming, and a really great group. So I really appreciate you participating, and a lot of people really put themselves out there and were vulnerable to the group, and I felt so much love and honor and support for everyone, and just want to say thank you for that. So next step is really talking about keeping up the momentum and goal setting. Oh, hi, I saw that someone hopped on, but I'm not seeing who it is. So welcome to my video. So we're talking about keeping up the momentum and setting our goals. 3 ways to really be successful in moving forward with your goal setting. So I want to talk about first, the thing that has made the biggest impact on me personally for setting goals is The Miracle Morning. And this is a book by Hal Elrod. He's this really amazing person who's been near death multiple times in his life and always come back from it, such a fighting spirit. What he discovered is that when he was depressed, he really needed to do something every single day to really, just kind of pull himself up and make some changes in his life. And so he recommends doing multiple things every morning. And I won't go through them all, but today was, I think, day 810 of me doing all of those things each morning. And it's made a huge impact on my ability to just be really consistent in my activity and understand the value in that. So we'll talk a little bit about consistency and some of the other ways that you can continue to make progress in your self-care goals and your wellness goals. All right, so first one is definitely mindset. So mindset is huge. One of the things I encourage all of my clients to do is really approach their goals with a scientific mindset. So really thinking about it in terms of what is, what are the things that are working for me? How do things work well for me? What things really don't work for me? What is my learning style? And just approaching it with a mindset of curiosity. That way, if something's not working for you, you can back up and be just curious about it. So say you wanted to go for a walk every single morning, but you're getting to bed late, you're worn out in the morning, and then you get up and maybe you don't have your shoes, you don't have good walking shoes, and maybe you don't like to walk in the rain. So then taking a step back and recognizing, this just doesn't work for me because I'm not getting enough rest, and I don't have the right shoes, so maybe I need to buy some walking shoes. Maybe I need to make a girlfriend date to walk at the mall, something like that. So rather than beating ourselves up and treating ourselves like it's because it's our fault, or we're not good enough, or it's not possible to achieve these goals, just recognizing we're human. There's things that are unique about us personally that doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So having a curiosity mindset. And the other piece about mindset that I really want to highlight today is making it the #1 priority. And this is where the Miracle Morning really came in for me, recognizing that I've got to put me and my self-care very first. That when I'm busy, it can't be the first thing that falls off my plate. It actually has to be the last thing to fall off of my plate. That was really pivotal for me. Now it's something that, I've been really consistent in my self-care. When things get busy, I do my self-care no matter what. It's non-negotiable. But I've also learned that it's actually, when I'm really busy, I actually need to even increase my self-care. So it used to be no self-care, and then it was self-care if I had time, which, it would fall off my plate. And then it was self-care every day, no matter what. And then it was self-care every day, no matter what, for real, like even if I got super busy. And then it became, now it's become self-care proportionate to how much work and stress I have in my life. And that's something that it's made a tremendous difference in my ability to be productive and in my, sense of inner calm and peace and well-being. And it definitely makes it feel more worthwhile when I am super busy that, I don't lose me. I still get to be a priority. So mindset, priority, approaching things with a curiosity or a scientific mindset, and then, that all or nothing thinking, that's something that plagued me for years. I thought, I have to do this perfectly. You know, if I would do a cleanse, it would have to be 100%. I could never, you know, have some rice, or I would have failed the cleanse. And then it would be, well, if I failed the cleanse, I might as well eat a whole pizza, right? Or I might as well eat all the cookies, or all, you know, the pizza and the cookies, because I failed it. And maybe I'll start again tomorrow. So, you know, letting go of the all or nothing thinking, recognizing that, you know, we're human, being flexible is really important, and that's going to lead to having more balance in our life overall in the long haul. And I found that it actually increases wellness in general if you're able to understand and trust that just because you didn't do it perfectly. In fact, we could never do it perfectly for the rest of our lives, right? So the only way to do it is imperfectly. So having some more balance with the all or nothing thinking is another piece of the mindset. So the last piece of the mindset I want to talk about is worthiness. And this is something that I've been finding more and more with my clients, that understanding that we are worthy and we're valuable no matter what, and that we're worthy of taking that time. We deserve the time investment. Sometimes there's a financial investment associated with it. Maybe you need to be accessing food, you need support around accessing food. Maybe you need a meal delivery service, or maybe you need some cooking classes, or maybe you need to be investing more into purchasing organic fruits and vegetables. So really getting down and doing work around that you deserve to care for yourself impeccably is like how I like to say it. And whatever it takes to get to that. Sometimes it requires some support from friends, or perhaps a coach. Sometimes it requires doing affirmations, or even just journaling about what your belief system around your own worthiness and value is, so that you can really examine, is that old thinking, is that someone else's belief system, or is it mine? And if it's mine, is that what I really think, or is that just how I feel and how I'm behaving? So starting to behave in a way that recognizes, like, I deserve to put that time and energy into me is, you know, really a huge key to achieving these goals, because most of the goals that we have around wellness require a time investment at minimum. So, you know, if you want to start going to yoga, for example, you know, that's something that it's going to require to pay for the yoga classes. It's going to require to taking that time. If you have kiddos, it's going to require having a sitter, or having, you know, your partner or someone watch the kids, or doing it, you know, when the kids are in bed. So it's going to require some time and some money and some effort. If you're not feeling like you deserve or are valuable or worthy of that time, then it's going to be really hard to put yourself first and achieve that goal. All right, so on to planning. I love planning. I'm a total planner. I have some friends that I feel like our whole friendship is based on planning. And so, you know, I'm all about planning. I use the bullet journal system. If you're curious about that, you can do it for free with whatever notebook that you own. Just YouTube it. There's a million ways to be creative with it. Or you can be really simple. I'm not so artistic at this point. I'm working on that. But I keep it really simple. The premise is that you have an index of which page things are on. And then you write out, like, each day of the month, and you write your tasks, your to-dos, and your notes, and your appointments. So it's all in one place. So I love that system, and I've got mine right here. I was glancing over at it. I'll show you. I have way too many things on the list today. But planning is really important. So if you have a goal, you know, actually adding it onto your calendar, if it's, you know, if it's working out, or even if it's eating, when are you going to be doing food planning and food prep? When, you know, when are you going to be fitting in other self-care? Like, you know, the challenge this week, yesterday I had a plan to make an appointment that I'd been putting off, and I booked my day pretty full, and I didn't write it down on my calendar, my to-do, my bullet list here. So I didn't manage to do the call. You know, I had booked myself pretty back-to-back, and then I actually worked a shift at the hospital last night. So in retrospect, of course, I didn't get around to calling. You know, I think the hours were like 10 to 3, and I had multiple appointments during that time. So what I've done today is I'm actually going to do 2 of the challenges. I'm going to make that appointment And I'm going to savor a quality meal with my husband. We're going to celebrate the success of the challenge and some of the other successes that we've had with the, we're going to go play pickleball, and then we're going to have a high quality meal somewhere. And I'm going to really savor that. So, so I put those on my bullet journal, to-do list for today. So planning ahead, planning for success. There's a cliche out there. I think it's, if you can plan to fail, you can, I don't know, something about you can't plan. If you don't plan it, you're not going to be successful. So anyway, planning. And then in planning is also plan to get support. So realistically speaking, it's much harder to achieve your goals on your own. So talking to girlfriends about it, talking to, your partner, your spouse, if you have one, a coach perhaps. That's something that I do with my clients. I really support them in how they're going to complete their goals. And then we talk, over and over about how's it going with that, back to the scientific mindset, and then readjusting the goals and planning forward. So when I have a client who sets a goal, every time we talk about, when are they going to do that, and when are they going to do that by, or how are they going to add it into their schedule? They're going to put it on the calendar. What they need to do to actually incorporate it into their lives and know that they'll be successful. The last piece is then going back and reviewing. So if you're, if you're putting it on your calendar, but then you're never going back to check off that you did it, or any sort of accountability for yourself, it's going to be really hard to know if you've been successful. And a lot of times it's easy to just kind of forget about it, and then 6 months have gone by and you realize, oh, I was going to start swimming again, and now it's 6 months later and I haven't done that. So I actually have a business coach, Danielle Ewald. She's awesome. And I guess she's a strategist. And one of the things she has is for her clients is a scorecard. So that's been really helpful for me. Just lists all the things all the goals I have for the week and all of the activities I'm going to be taking. And then I just put in, my goal is to do 3, I have it for business, but then I also added my personal. So, if my goal was to do 3 exercise classes for the week, something like that, then I would write the number of every Sunday I review. I even have a backup time of Monday morning, because sometimes, Sundays get busy. So every Sunday or Monday I review and put on my scorecard, whether I did my goal for the week, and if not, how many times I did the thing I was hoping to do, and then I evaluate why was I struggling to fit that in this week. All right, and then I alluded to this already, but last but not least, celebrate your wins. Oh man, how many times do we just we got it done, we handled it, we did it, we were successful, and we just move on to the next thing without even acknowledging everything that went into this new goal that we placed, had for ourselves. So like I mentioned, my husband and I are going to go out for a celebratory dinner tonight. I tend to be somebody who just plows through. Okay, that one's done, move on, next thing. So now I'm taking a moment. A lot of times after I do something that was challenging for myself, I'll just literally get up and do a little spontaneous dance party, or I'll turn on some music and some happy music, and just take a moment and soak it in that I did that thing. That was hard, and I did it. Or when I have a really great month in business, I just try to share with someone that, would care about that. Share with my family or my friends or my business coach, right? So, find ways to celebrate and, have it be in alignment with what works for you. I'm a huge advocate for the love languages, right? So for me, love languages are words of affirmation and acts of service. So, I may, as a celebration measure, hire some service that I've been, not allowing myself to have, right? My husband and I, when we got to a certain point, we did hire someone to come clean our house every other week. Oh man, it was amazing. And that's a gift that I give myself. And I look at that as a celebration. So every time she comes and I write a check and I say thank you on the check, and I pause and just recognize this is something a gift that I get to give myself. And then of course, words of affirmation, that's something I can give to myself. And I can also seek it, be open to it from other people in my life. So that's, it's a way that I can celebrate that doesn't actually cost me anything. And I think that the people in my life also appreciate the opportunity to support me in that way, be my cheerleaders. All right. So hopefully that gives you some good direction for maintaining the momentum that you've created here in the challenge, and for other goals that you have as well besides just self-care. I do want to talk a little bit about an offer that I have that's special just for you guys. So what I've been finding is that women in particular, some men, but mostly women, are really struggling with their relationship with food. And, it's just getting really old. It's kind of like this hamster wheel. Like we get on the hamster wheel and run, try really hard, try to be perfect, eat really well, and then we just can't do it. And so we fall off the hamster wheel and feel like failures. But what I have learned for me and through my training and through my own personal journey is that the hamster wheel isn't the way to go. And that it's the system's kind of broken. So I was recently talking with a client of mine who was saying, that she's eating super healthy and mostly raw vegetables and that she hates it. And I was like, well, if you hate it, it's probably not very sustainable for you. And what I realized is we have this idea that we should be able to do it perfectly and that it's us that's not doing it right. And that mindset keeps us stuck in this frustration of, this kind of bad relationship with food and feeling guilty and we're not good enough, we're not worthy, and judging ourselves around food. So I want to open up some deep dive sessions for anyone that feels like they're really struggling with food, or that they're struggling with their mindset around their worthiness and their value and perhaps self-judgment. Those are things, we can dive into easily in a 2-hour session. And it's, via Zoom or in my home office in Happy Valley. Most people choose to do Zoom, and I'm really comfortable with that. I want it to be as accessible as possible. So normally a 2-hour deep dive would be $250. Today, I'm actually offering it only to the people in this group for $97. And I have a booking link. You can, you'll just book it at a time that works for you. What we'll do in the 2-hour deep dive is determine like the number one barrier to feeling good about your relationship with food. And then we will identify some key action steps to take next to make the biggest impact and start to really create meaningful and sustainable change in your relationship with food. So I do this without restriction. If someone is on a restrictive diet, I can support them in that. There are changes that you can make even within a restrictive diet that will improve your relationship with food. But it's completely not necessary to eat restrictively so that you can be healthy. There's a way, there's so many other ways that are much more sustainable than restrictive eating and that actually feel good. So that's my offer today. I'm going to post my booking link in the comments. So if you're interested, you can just book, and of course mention that you were in the self-care challenge, so we can, I'll be sure to get you that special pricing of $97. And again, it's a 2-hour deep dive session. If you have, if you're not wanting to focus on food, you're more wanting to focus on the mindset or another wellness goal, we can work on that as well. But, we'll just come to an agreement about what the goal for the session would be. All right. So I am, again, so grateful for this challenge. It's actually really filling for me. So when I run them, it's a little selfish, actually. It never feels, it actually doesn't feel like work. It feels like community and connecting. And that's something that, that I need. That's something that, is, fills my cup. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.